Hey everyone, welcome back to Kid Time with Dathaniel Driesen. Do you guys remember what our experiment was last time and what we talked about? Right, we had an experiment with dancing raisins and we talked about praising God with enthusiasm and excitement each and every day. Speaking of praising God each and every day, how is that going? If you've been able to do that, then great, good job, keep going. But if you haven't, or if you just forgot about it, that's okay. But I encourage you to try extra hard to remember what we're going to talk about today, and then work on putting it into practice in your lives. Alright, well, are you guys ready? Then let's get started. Let's head on over to our special science experiment lab. Alright, welcome to the experiment lab. Now, before we get to our experiment, I have a question for you all to think about. Do you think that a single, simple ingredient such as salt can totally change a situation? Let's find out. So first, we're going to put on our handy dandy safety goggles. I forgot to put mine on last time, but it's important to remember to wear the proper protective gear when you do experiments. Next, we are going to fill one of our jars here with some water real carefully, just like this. Alright, perfect. Nice and full with water, and we're going to carefully place an egg in the jar. Let's see what'll happen. It sank. Next, we are going to go to our second jar, and before we fill it with water, we're going to add some salt to the jar. Just like that. And now we're going to fill it with water. Just like so. Being careful not to spill. Alright, now we're going to give it a nice little stir. Big stir. And now let's put our egg into this water and see what happens this time. Alright, let's see. Oh, would you look at that? You can kind of see right at the top there, that egg is floating. That one sank, but this one's floating. Maybe you're wondering, how is this possible? Or maybe you've already got a pretty good guess in mind. Let me explain. You see, salt water, like we have in this jar, weighs more than the tap water in this jar because it's denser. There's more to it. An egg floats in the salt water because the water weighs more than the egg. Whereas on this side, the egg sinks because the egg weighs more than the water. Now let's head back to the studio and we're going to talk a little more about this. Wow, did you guys think that a single, simple ingredient like salt could totally change a situation? I mean, I wasn't so sure, but wow, does it ever. Actually, in the Bible, in Matthew chapter 5, Jesus calls us to be salt and light in the world today. And the words that he says can be found in verses 13 through 16. Now I'm going to grab my Bible here and I'm going to read them. You are the salt of the earth, but if salt has lost its taste, how shall its saltiness be restored? It is no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. You see, just like the salt made a difference in making objects float, Jesus wants us to make a difference in the world. And we can do this by telling others about him and living in such a way that glorifies him. Now, our time is almost up today, but before I go, I have a big brainstorming question for you. And now this question, it's not just something for you to think about, but it's something that I want you to think about and then go and do. Now the question is this: how can we make a difference for Jesus in the lives of those around us? You see, it's a tough question, but maybe you can work together with your parents or your grandparents or your siblings, and you guys can figure something out. All right, thank you so much for joining me again today. I'll see you all very, very soon. Bye.